Okay. Very good. Well, welcome everybody. We are starting this webinar. I think I know there is a lot of people showing up from different parts of the world. So thank you very much for joining. This is exciting to have you all here. A lot of people register. So and I really appreciate all the interest you have for the consultative status process and for ECOSOC. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Diego Rumiani. I'm Program Officer at the NGO Branch on the Department of Economic and Social Affairs here at the United Nations. Good morning, because we are in New York right now, but everybody's on different places. So I hope you're having a good time and that you enjoy and you, most importantly, find helpful this webinar. I'm accompanied here today by Mr. Wok-Jin Jang, who is the chief of the NGO branch, who will give introductory remarks soon, and also by my colleagues Maria and Hannah, who is also accompanying me throughout the webinar and will be assisting you answering questions and providing support to this meeting. So before I give we start the workshop, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Chang, who will give some introductory remarks and tell you a little bit about the meeting. So Mr. Chang, when you're ready, you can take the floor.
Thank you, Diego. Welcome, everyone. I'm Wok-Jin Chang, Chief of the NGO Branch at the United Nations, and I thank you for joining us from all around the world for today's webinar. With just less than 1 month away from the June 1st deadline this year, today's session is to guide and support you through the application process. Our aim is simple and vital: to empower more civil society organizations to engage with the United Nations and contribute meaningfully to its work. As UN Secretary General Guterres has often reminded us, today's global challenges, from conflict and inequality to climate change, require inclusive, network, and effective multilateralism. And civil society is essential to that effort. Don't be shy. Already more than 6,500 NGOs from all around the world enjoys the consultative status. And almost 1,000 NGOs are applying for the status every year. Consultative status with ECOSOC is more than a formality. It's a gateway, an opportunity to speak, to influence, and to help shape the global agenda. With this status, NGOs can attend UN meetings and conferences, submit written and oral statements, organize side events, and network with diplomats, UN staff members, and other NGOs. It is also a recognition of indispensable role NGO play in international cooperation. You can bring expertise, early warning, and fresh and new innovative ideas. Most importantly, you connect people with policy, and you keep our focus on the real world needs, especially those of the most vulnerable. The UN relies on civil society to help us to be focused, responsive, and inclusive. Your voices do not just enrich debate, they drive change. Today's webinar is meant to be both practical and encouraging. And let me assure you, the application process is accessible, transparent, and easy. My colleague Diego, Hannah, and Maria will walk you through the key steps, answer your questions, and offer some secret tips to make your application clear and complete. I wish every success with your applications, and we look forward to welcoming you in the United Nations as the ECOSOC community. And I wish you even greater success in the work you continue to do for our shared mission for the peace, development, and human rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jean, for your words and for introducing this webinar. We really appreciate your participation today. So I'm gonna start with a little bit of administrative rules, sort of speak, of this webinar. I will start with a presentation that I'm planning to go about 30 minutes to cover different aspects. What is consultative status? How the application process go? We're gonna even go into the sharing screen and see a little bit of how to fill out that applications and to really see how the process works. I'm also within the application process, we are going to see our website, and I will guide you through this a little bit. After that, I really want this to be interactive, so I will really open the floor. So throughout my presentation, you can always ask questions that are going to be, you can do that by going to the Ask a Question option. So if you go through this Teams platform, you can find an Ask a Question function in the Q&A option. And my colleagues will actually try to answer some of your questions even as I speak and later. So you can already, get as much as information, and we make this as productive as possible, because I'm sure you have a lot of questions. There are a lot of also opportunities. There's going to be an opportunity to speak as well. So during the presentation, I'm going to be speaking, but after that, there's going to be the possibility for you to raise your hand. So you have the option to raise your hand, and we will give you the floor to give you the chance to speak. Obviously, not everybody will be able to speak. You can all ask questions. So I will show you how you can also ask questions even after the meeting is over throughout the application process. All right. So without anything else, I will start with the presentation. So as Mr. Chang was mentioning, the consultative status is one of the main channels in the United Nations for civil society to connect, and is one of the exclusive channels to connect with intergovernmental processes. The Economic and Social Council, as you know, is divided into different commissions that you will be able to participate, interact, and engage with through this consultative status, and only through this consultative status. So this is a very good channel, and that's why it's so demanded. As Mr. Chang was mentioning, there are a lot of NGOs already in this process that are already in consultative status, and many of you, of course, that are interested in applying. I know that you are in different stages of your application based on the form you fill out. Some are really considering applying, others are in the process of applying, and some of you even already submitted an application. So we will try to address as much as possible the different stages in which you are. One thing I want to say at the beginning is the benefits for applying for consultative status, and because that's important, why you will like to apply for consultative status. And one of the I like to distinguish this normally into the formal mechanisms and informal mechanisms. Jean mentioned some of the formal. You will be able to attend sessions, so you will be given a ground pass to attend office events going on in New York, Geneva, and Vienna, which is where the commissions of functional commissions of ECOSOC are held. To you and to a number of representatives that you can bring with you. So that's already access is that kind of access is already very important. But also you will be able to submit statements to these meetings, either in the written form or in an oral form. So you will be able to speak in these meetings. And of course, that change as there are many NGOs. There are different levels of participations, and there are limits in terms of how many people can speak in the events, but you have that right after getting consultative status. That's part of your benefits and your right you acquire after going through this process. There are also some informal benefits I like to point out. There are many opportunities for organizing events in the UN through side events to some of these functional meetings. And that's, I think, it's a very valuable opportunity to be here, to showcase your work, to network with other NGOs, with member states, members of the government, UN officials. So this is also a good opportunity. Many NGOs value of being in the UN and interacting with other actors in sustainable development. So the possibility for this is for you to actually engage into these dialogues, to be able to interact with these individuals. There are also some obligations after obtaining consultative status. All NGOs, we have a mechanism of monitoring in which you have to submit reports every 4 years. We call that the quadrennial reports. And these reports are mandatory. So every 4 years, you have to inform what have you done with your organization, either within the UN or outside. But we really want you to interact. The important thing is that you see this as a bilateral mechanism in which you definitely could find benefits in being in ECOSOC, but also the United Nations needs the civil society voice and need that voice to express itself in the meetings and to be able to work with us, to work together. So this is really one of the few mechanisms in the UN in which civil society is not only someone who is participating to events, but and attending events, but also what I want to say, participating, be actively involved and influencing policy and influencing the intergovernmental processes. So that's something that you have to have in mind when consultative status. More information about consultative status you can find in our website. We have, and I'm going to show you around in a little bit, some of the booklets we have and some information so you can dig deeper into your particular area of interest, which is very important for you to know. The moment you get consultative status, in a way you are on your own. You have to decide which area you want to focus on, which meetings you want to attend, which aspects of ECOSOC you wish to contribute. So that's also important that you, even before applying, to have a clear idea of what are your goals behind this. Let's talk a little bit about the process. So the application process is composed of an application package that I will describe. We are right now running a campaign for NGOs to apply before June 1st. And even though we receive applications throughout the year, so this is not really a deadline that after that you cannot apply anymore. You can apply at any time of the year. What we are scheduled is that applications received by June 1st, including New York time, at 12 New York time, at the end of June 1st, you can submit your application, and those applications will be scheduled to be submitted to the Committee on NGOs, which is the body that is going to be reviewing your application during 2026. So all applications received since June 2nd to June 1st, June 2nd last year to June 1st this year, will be scheduled to be submitted during the 2026 session. We are already, of course, received a lot of applications, but we are expecting many more. So we really encourage you to submit your application as soon as possible, but we also encourage you to do a good application and to really take your time in providing the information that is required, that I'm going to summarize soon. After you submit your application, the NGO branch will have a preliminary review. We really want your application to be at the best shape possible before it goes to the committee, who ultimately is going to make the recommendation for your status. So after that, we're going to start looking at your application and contacting you if we need further input, if some documentation is missing, or any question we may have for clarification. We really want you to be in the best possible shape. Of course, this is a process, and I want to create the right expectations here. It's a process that takes time. We received many applications. Last year, we almost got 900 applications for the entire year. So you can imagine that that takes time to processing. So you have to bear with us into going through these applications and reaching back to you, which not necessarily happens. Some applications are in good shape, and we just can send it directly to the committee without consulting with you. So throughout this process, the NGO branch is really working with you to have the best application process. And also before applying, and you can also write to us at any point in time, and I will say this many times, going through our system, you have a contact us option, and just make sure you select the category applying for application for consultative status, so it gets to us. And you can ask any question you may have before the process, after the process. We are here for your support. We are here to basically help you answer any questions or any doubt before you submit your application. So after the application is submitted to the committee will review that application and will also ask questions to you, and it's and again, that not necessarily happen if the committee is not is satisfied with your questions. I would say that the committee of ECOSOC, the committee, sorry, of NGOs within ECOSOC is a committee that is one of the functional bodies of ECOSOC. It's composed of 19 member states, and it meets twice a year. So that's important for you to know. We have now a session of the committee coming up in May. We call that the resume session, but actually we had already the regular session in January. So it meets twice in January and May every year. And most of the work it does is really reviewing your applications and making recommendations to the council about your consultative status. So that's basically, after going through the NGO branch, that's the second step. If you get recommended in those sessions, then the council meets in June and July, June for January, July for May. And in those sessions, you will actually get consultative status. That will be basically the best case scenario. So if there are no questions from the committee and ECOSOC doesn't have any problem, you are granted consultative status. You're officially in status starting in June and July, and you can already get a ground pass, attend meetings. You can fully exercise all the benefits that I mentioned before. So that's really, that's how the process works. Of course, there might be questions, and if there are questions and the committee doesn't manage to address those questions or get back to your answers within the session, then the application gets deferred, and then you will be considering the following session. And that unfortunately happened because we have so many applications, and the committee only meets for a few days per year in these two sessions. So that's something that you also may expect to have. So this is pretty much the process I want to describe. Again, all this is also described in our website. So I don't want to go so deep into this. I just want you to have an overview, and we can also address questions when we get into the Q&A. The last part I want to cover today is the application itself, the application package. The application package is composed of several elements. It is mainly composed of a questionnaire that has 22 questions, and we are going to go a little bit through the questions in a moment that you have to answer online. All applications are done online through our system. We don't receive paper-based or documents sent separately from the application process. So we have the application form, and then apart from these 22 questions, you have to submit three required documents that are part of the application, which you also submitted online through our platform. That those documents are one, a proof of existence issued by a governmental authority that proves that your organization has been in existence for more than 2 years at the time of submitting your application. That's a very important requirement, and I want to stress it. And that document can be submitted there. It has to be in the original language, but it also has to be translated into English or French. There is no requirement for an official translation, so if you want to, you can do the translation yourself into English or French, but we also need the original of that proof of existence. The other 2 documents we need is the constitution or bylaws of the organization, which can be also has to be in English or French. We don't need the original. We just need to understand how the governance structure of your organization works and your decision-making process. That's the most important part of that document for us. And finally, if an updated financial statement. A financial statement is a document that normally has some typical presentations that are kind of universal around the world, balance sheet and income statement. You may all have those documents that I'm mentioning, which we just need to have that. It's important that those documents are only for our eyes only and the eyes of the committee. So this is not shared publicly. This is just part of our evaluation and the evaluation of the committee to determine your eligibility for consultative status. So these are what we call the application package, and this is important that you get all this together and submit it before June 1st. What I'm going to do now is just share the screen and show you a little bit around our website, and most important, the application, the place where you're going to be submitting the application, so you have an idea of how it looks for those who haven't gone through it yet. So let me share the screen. Give me a second here. Okay, I'm checking with my colleagues that the screen is visualized correctly on your end. It is. So first of all, let me show you quickly our website, where just to some of you already seen. I mean, some of you have to come here to register to this event. So of course, you might be already familiar. I just want to show you the important areas that you want to check. Of course, all the instructions step by step are in this link, how to apply for consultative status, where you can see all the steps that I was describing, of course, much more in detail. You can see actually images of our previous webinars in case you want to see this. And we are also planning to publish this webinar when after we are done in this website on this page as well. So if you missed something or you were not able to actually attend part of it, you will be able to find this here. Here you can see the required documents and actually all the elements you need to apply. Of particular importance, I want to highlight this link here, which is the questionnaire. This is not the questionnaire you're going to be filling online, but this is just a PDF document that will give you a lot of hints on how to apply and what each question you are expected to answer. We've got very positive feedback that this is very useful for participants. And there are actually a lot of information that you can find here. I see some comments from my colleagues that it's not showing. Okay, let me go back and Okay, sorry about this. Can you listen to me now? Okay, let me see if I can share the screen now. I'm sorry for this disruption. We have some problems here. I'm sharing the screen again. Yeah, okay, good. It seems it's fixed. Thank you so much. I am thanking my colleagues for this. I apologize once again. There are some technical problems we always have. So now we have, I wanted to share this, which I think it was not shown before, in which you can see a lot of hints for filling out the application form. And then, and so I really recommend you to showing this, looking at this before filling out the application. I think this is very helpful. The other thing I want to show you in this, let me go back to the screen. So if you go through our system where you are going to actually submit your application, I'm going to show you an application that I did just as a sample. This doesn't have any information that can be understood, but just to see how it looks like. So you will have your credential to submit your application. And again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I just want you to see how it looks. As you can see, I have an incomplete application that I haven't submitted. So you can come here and then you will enter. And you see that the application is divided in 4 sections, where these 22 questions that I was mentioning is distributed. And I will briefly tell you, the questions are self-explanatory, but when you actually go through filling out, you also have some hints on the side, which kind of are the same hints on the PDF I showed before, where you can see information about how to fill it out and things that we recommend you focusing on in case the question is maybe not clear enough. And you see there is no valid text here. I just filled with random text here, but you can see all the questions. The first part of the questionnaire is about really who you are, like what are your aims, what are your projects. So it's basically about what the NGO does and how do you plan to contribute to ECOSOC. This is a very important question, question 5. So we really want you to provide detailed questions and to be able to, dedicate time to filling out this questionnaire. The second section is the registration and structure, which is more about the operational activities, where you are located, who you work with, your relationship with the government, if you have any, your membership, how is the structure. So it's more about the operation. It's not about what you do, but it's about the operation and how do you do things. And these are the rest of the 22 questions. There is also an income and expenditure section in which you have to put your financials. It's important to distinguish, this is not the financial statement. The financial statement is a document you issue yourself and you may have for your own obligations in your countries. This is actually more a document where you have to put financial information in this particular format that we require to see how you carry out your activities and how the funding of your is coming and how the expenditures are being handled. Finally, you have the summary section. In this section, it's not a lot of text to enter, but this is where you submit the application. And I want to stress this because sometimes this is not so intuitive. When you're ready to submit your application, you go to this section, you go to the update mode. I'm going to do this again slowly so you can capturing. So I'm going to the summary section. You click on the update, and then you press submit. And this is, at that moment, if everything is filled out, the system will not send you and allow you to send you anything if it's not completed. You will be submitting your application. After that, there is no step back. Okay, so you have to be very sure that everything is filled out according to your interest and that you didn't forget anything. And then you will be able to submit your application. And after that, you will get a notification that your application is submitted. And when we receive the application, you'll get a confirmation, so you know we received the application. So this is an important step. And again, even though we want your application to be submitted properly and with all the information, that you take time on your application, remember We have this deadline on June 1st if you want to be considered by the committee in 2026. So you want to submit it as soon as possible. The other part I want to mention is the document section, which is where you're going to upload these 3 required documents we discussed before. The certificate of registration or proof of existence issued by a governmental authority, constitution or bylaws or statutes, depending how you call it, which contains the governance structure and decision-making process of your organization, among other things, and the financial statement. So again, this is really the document of your financial statement, which is different than this income and expenditure section. That's an additional document you need to present. All of this is the application package. All of this need to be filled out before you press that submit button. If something is missing, the system will detect it and will really not allow you and will give you an error. So you will know that there is something that is missing. Also, you have here a checklist of the things that need to be completed. So you can see that the system is already telling me that the application actually is complete already, but not submitted yet. Okay, when the application is submitted, you will see that this changed to submitted. And if something is missing, it will show here. So this is something useful for you to know in which stage you are in the application. You can start the application, continue later. So as long as it's not submitted, you can work on your application until you're ready. The last part I want to mention here is the correspondence section, where you can actually communicate with us. This is where you will gonna get your questions from us and where we can discuss. Of course, here there are a lot of tests and information that is not really real, but this is where you're gonna get communication from us, and where you can also write if you have questions, if you wanna follow up on your application. So we are in touch throughout the process. So this is pretty much what I want to show you about the application, so you have a sense of how it looks like. As Jean was saying, the process is easy. The information, the way to use the system is simple. The difficult part is, or the challenge is on your end, to work on this, on preparing the application, on preparing the content, and to put all this together. And that's what normally takes more time. We wish you good luck for the ones who haven't started yet or who are in the process. And of course, we will be looking at the ones you already submitted. So this concludes my presentation, what I wanted to cover today, but actually I want now to hear your questions. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. I want to make sure that nothing gets broken again. So I'm still live. Thank you, Anna. And so I will now, as I said, I know you've been asking questions already, and my colleagues has been answering to you. So this is a time in which I'm going to see some of the questions that are left and try to address, and maybe I'll keep the floor to some of you so we can interact a little bit. So let me go through the questions first, and I will start looking at some of them. We have a lot of questions. So again, I want to clarify that because of time limitation, we will not have time to cover all the questions. You can also ask all these questions later and we will answer. We especially around this time, we're trying to be very fast. We get a lot of questions, but we try to be fast in answering so you are ready for the application. So I'm going to start with some random questions. I'm not going in any particular order. So I have one question regarding the financial questions. Will the template and category ready to be filled out? For smaller NGOs, it is okay if it's a simple form. Yes, the financial questions, the income and expenditure section is a fixed template, as I showed you. It has certain areas. Of course, for smaller NGOs, it must be very simple to fill out, but still we want you to fill out this conscientiously and to be able to complete all these things with your real finance and with the information you have. If for whatever reason you want to clarify anything on the financial statement, maybe why you have the figures are not as high as maybe a committee will expect, or any clarification, you're going to have a remarks field at the bottom where you can clarify. And we encourage you to add anything that you feel you cannot put in the categories, to write it down there. That's important so the committee can have additional information, because the question, the template that you use, it really doesn't give you a lot of flexibility to explain a lot. So you use that to explain. So I hope that answered that question. Also, another question about financial statements. It's asking if for the financial statement, again, it's not the income and expenditure section of the application form, it's the document. They're asking if there is a standard template that they can use. There is no preferred format. We don't have any particular requirement in terms of the format of the financial statement. We know financial statements are very different around the world, so that's why we are not really implying or requiring a particular format. However, all financial statements must have at least two basic presentations that are universal. One is a balance sheet, which is called in different ways around the world, a statement of net assets. And it's basically a form where you show your assets, your liabilities, and your capital or equity. That's one of the presentations that are expected. And the other is the income statement, which is probably the most common one, where you show your income and your expenditures, always for 1 year. And that should be the most updated you have, which is normally 1 or 2 years before the application date. So we need an updated information of your financial. But apart from that, there is no particular format. And normally what you need to present to your authorities are useful. Please note that this is not tax information or tax statements. We don't really need that. We really want to see your finances for the latest year. I'll pick another question and then maybe take the floor. Let me see. So they ask, if we don't apply by the deadline, does that mean the application will not be reviewed until 2027, for example? So if you don't apply by the deadline, we cannot submit your application in 2026. So all applications received after June 1st, so starting June 2nd, will be scheduled for 2027. And that's how the process works, and that's what the resolution that governs this process, which is ECOSOC Resolution 1996-31, says. So that's why we encourage you to submit as soon as possible. We also have a lot of applications that we are in the process of reviewing. So we really cannot guarantee the application to be submitted on the scheduled date. We are trying to submit as many as possible, but definitely if you apply after the deadline, we can assure you is not going to be in 2026. And that's why we are encouraging you to apply as soon as possible. I'm going to give the floor to someone here to see if, and again, if you want to speak, you can raise your hand. And I have some people here. So I'm going to tell my colleagues. Let me see. So I have a person called Aslam Dawood. I'm telling my colleagues so they can enable your microphone. So you can speak. You have to unmute, and the floor is yours.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Aslam Dawood. I am from Humanity First International Registered Charity and an NGO, primarily responding to disasters and humanitarian projects. We have applied for the ECOSOC status, and our application is due for review in May. I'm just wondering that I'm hoping that there will be a positive response. But as you're saying, the deadline is June 1. Should we submit another application in case we are not considered, or should we just wait for the response?
Thank you very much. If you are actually scheduled to be reviewed in the resume session of the committee, your application is already with us. So the June 1st deadline is actually for new applicants, applications that are really new, that are about to submit. You probably, if you're in May, you submitted the application already some time ago, and therefore your application, if you receive already the invitation for the resume session, that means your application will be considered. So there is really nothing else for you to do rather than wait for that session and to be considered the application. So this you already did what you needed to be done, so it should be fine.
Thank you very much.
Of course, thank you for the question. I'm going to take someone else. So I see here, I'm going to mention Paula Salvo del Canto. Paula Salvo del Canto. So I'm telling my colleague to unmute, to give you the mic, and you have to unmute yourself and you can raise your question. You have the floor. If you're there, you have to unmute your microphone. Paula Salvo del Canto. Okay, maybe you're not there. All right, we'll pick someone else then. So let me see. We have Elizabeth Moses. You have the floor now if you are there. You have to unmute your mic. Yes, you are on. Hello? Your mic is on, so you should be able to speak. Okay, we are not listening. I'm confirming with my colleagues the mic is on, right? Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, we need to move forward, so I'll pick someone else. So I have Aise Inan. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your names. We have people from all over the world. Aise Inan.
Yes, hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you very much. I work for a philanthropic organization that has focused areas across science, arts, culture, and education. In our application, we want to highlight our work in education. And I'm wondering if this is possible. So can we gear our answers to the questions to highlight our work in education while only briefly mentioning our work in the other areas?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And of course, you have the liberty to gear your application in the direction you want. And especially if you feel that this is more relevant to the work of ECOSOC or more relevant to yourself or the goals of what you want to achieve. Remember, you're applying for consultative status to work on particular areas of ECOSOC that you are interested, and that may not be necessarily everything that the NGO does. So you can definitely do this. The only recommendation I will say is that, of course, one of the information you provide is the website of your organization. So the committee will very likely go to your website as well and see all your work. So it is good that you mention the other areas as well, even though you don't focus on them, because we always recommend NGOs that the website reflects the other way around. The application reflects your website so that there are no contradictions or there are nothing that is not described. So that's something that maybe you want to pay attention when preparing your application. But of course, your application is yours and you can gear it in the direction you want. And most importantly, what you're planning to do in ECOSOC. I don't know if
that's very
that
helpful. Yeah,
question.
no, very helpful. Thank you very much.
All right, of course, my pleasure. I'm going to read some other questions. There are a lot. So again, I'll try to go as many as I can. Let me see. So again, there are some questions about technical issues like username and password and all that. Of course, these specific questions you'll need to resolve it through our correspondence, which there are people that will support you on this. I cannot use this webinar to resolve the specific issues with your access or with that. I just want to find general questions that that hopefully is helpful for most of you. So there is one specific question about partnerships here. It says point 17a, that's one of the questions of the questionnaire that ask about members that are part of ECOSOC. And they're asking whether that member, they don't have a member, but they have a partner in our project. And that is considered member. So I want to use this question to describe that the use of members and partners are different terminology that the application use. You may have organizations that are member of your organization, and that's what the question is really targeting is. If you have any member that is already part of ECOSOC, and by the way, you can find that by searching through our database and see if some of your member organizations are already in consultative status. But you also may have partners. The idea is that you try to describe everybody that you have connections with in any type of formal relationship, whether it's partnership, whether it's a membership, whether it's an affiliate, however you describe. So the committee members know your relationships and know who you're working with. And also you can describe the nature of that relationship. So all these questions and there are several that talks about relationship with other entities. It could be NGOs, but it could be other type of entities that you describe in detail, that you describe the type of relationship, and if you do projects with them. So it's important to be detailed on these questions rather than being ambiguous, because that will trigger questions from the committee members, and you don't want these questions because that delays the process. So I think the answer to most of these questions is to be detailed, to be transparent, and to be open in terms of relationship with other entities. Another question here that I think is also relevant, it says our organization will be 2 years next February 2026. Can we start the process because of the time frame this process will take? Unfortunately, no, you can't. The resolution is very strict and very clear on this, that only NGOs that can prove their existence through a governmental issue document at the time of submitting their application, at the time of applying, when you click that submit button, you have to have 2 years and you will be able to prove it. Even though by the time of the application we review, you already have the 2 years, we cannot accept it because it has to be at the time of submitting the application. And that is a very specific rule that it's in the resolution of ECOSOC. So before, instead of submitting the application anyway and getting closed because of not fulfilling that requirement, I really ask everybody to be sure that by the time you submit your application, you can prove that at that time you have 2 years of existence issued by a governmental authority. Okay, I'm gonna see if we have some other participants that would like to attend. I'm gonna be giving the floor. Let me see. So I have this is, I think, yes, from Etavasa Foundation. The name is Kamakune Beatrice. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Oh, Beatrice. Kamakune Beatrice. You have the floor. You have to unmute your mic to speak.
Thank you.
There. Okay.
Thank you very much. Good evening. That was a very informative session, and we thank you. So my question is about grassroots organizations or community-based organizations. I understand that many of the organizations seeking for consultative status are usually national NGOs, or at least at the national level. So I wanted to ask: is there a window for for community-based organizations to actually apply for consultative status? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and this is important because I know there are many NGOs applying that are community-based, and yes, we've been receiving applications from them, from this type of organizations, and we have record that committee members have been recommending NGOs that are community-based. So the answer is you can apply. Of course, this is up to the consideration of the committee. Whether they will recommend. The NGO consultative status is designed as per the resolution for national organizations, but we do have records in history that these applications obtained consultative status in the past. So I will not basically discourage you from applying you for that reason. It's important, however, that in your application you highlight that so the committee members knows about your status. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you. I have another person called Furkan Boyras. Furkan Boyras, if you are okay. I'm looking at my colleagues. She found it. So you are now enabled and you can unmute yourself if you're ready to speak.
Hello, Mr. Diego. My question is, as the capital city youth assembly, we are a youth organization affiliated with the city council, established under the Turkish municipal law. We have been operating for 4 years, and we are recognized by both the ministry and local municipality. All our activities are carried out entirely by young volunteers. Therefore, we don't have a legal personality or an official statement, unofficial financial statement. In this context, would it be a problem if we declare our financial statements as zero, since we do not have any official financial records?
That's a very good question. I appreciate that because I think that will be helpful for everybody. I will appreciate if you mute because I think there is a feedback while I answer your question. Okay. Yeah, now it's good. This, as I was saying, this is a very good question, and this is very common in organizations that are completely led by volunteers, members. The answer is technically you can submit a financial statement in zero. However, I really strongly encourage you to try to value all the contributions in monetary terms, because what the committee members wants to see, even though this is coming from time or even funds from personal, or you use this for certain activities, that those activities can be valued in terms of monetary terms. We want to see, even though this could be coming from donations or it could be coming in goods, to see the value of this in a financial statement. So we always encourage NGO to try to value this information so you can prepare a financial statement, even though that might not be big amounts necessarily, but to try to present a financial statement following the structure of a financial statement. If you're not able to do this for whatever reason, then yes, the last option is to submit a document with zero financial statement, but you still have to submit that document, and it will be good to avoid questions from the committee, because normally that triggers questions, and that's what I'm encouraging you not to do it, is to explain the functioning of your organization so people, so the committee members can understand why you're presenting such a financial statement. But again, I really encourage you to try to value this in monetary terms. I don't know if that's answer your question. I think we mute you, no? Yes, you can.
Thank you for your answer. Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Let me see if there are other questions I want to read. So they're talking about the composition of the committee. Is there any, if there was any change in the composition in the last session or in the next? So we are now in the current composition. So the next session will still be the current composition of these 19 member states. We change this every 4 years. I don't recall this right now, but I think in 1 year or 2 years, we will be having a new composition. But right now, you can always see the composition of the member states in our website if you go to the committee. So you can see which countries, which are the 19 countries that are seated in the commission, making the committee of NGOs making those decisions or recommendations, actually. Let me see another question. Have several. And again, there are some questions that are very specific. So I don't want you to drop this question here. You can send this question later through our correspondence because we want to answer these questions. Okay. Okay, so let me see this question. I think it could be interesting. For organizations that held consultative status previously and it was withdrawn. So if you don't submit your quadrennial report on time, you know, after getting consultative status that you have to present every 4 years, you can get suspended first, and then the year after you lose your consultative status. And that's how important it is to submit your quadrennial reports. I want to stress this. There is someone here who lost this status, and they're now, after you lose your status, you can apply, but only 3 years after losing your status. So apparently, in this case, the organization is ready to submit that application. And they say that there is something that will be used against the organization, and the answer is no. So if to answer this NGO and probably many other NGOs that lost their status in the past, you can apply after 3 years of losing your status, and there is without prejudice, meaning that you have the chances like everybody else to apply and get that consultative status again. They're asking here that the leadership of management of the organization have changed. So of course, since the withdrawal, and that makes sense because it's already, you know, several years since. So you may want to of course, describe the new leadership and management as part of the new application. And there are actually some questions for this type of NGOs where you have to explain to the committee that you've been drawn and that you are submitting a new application. One of the questions in the questionnaire is exactly about this. So I hope that answered these particular questions, but also so you know the importance of submitting quadrennial reports because there are repercussions if you don't do it. Let me see another question. So they're talking about the categories for consultative status. So this is something I didn't address, and I think it's important. When you get consultative status, there are 3 categories called general, special, and roster. Almost all NGOs get special, which means you're focused on a particular area of ECOSOC, and that gives you certain rights and obligations. You can see that. I don't want to extend on this, but you can see that on our website. This is totally decided by the committee. So you don't apply for a specific category. The committee decides based on your organization whether you fit one category or the other. So a special consultative status is about NGOs that are focused on a specific area of ECOSOC, which is normally the case. General organizations, these are normally big organizations, geographically distributed, that work on many areas of ECOSOC. And then roster are organizations that are really not related directly to ECOSOC, but they have some expertise that could be used in ECOSOC, and therefore the committee admits them in that particular category. The access is pretty much the same thing. There are different nuances in terms of the number of words you can write in statements and the requirement to submit quadrennial reports. Again, it's a bit complex to go through it today, but you can see all that in the resolution and also in our website. and there are more details about the different type. But this is something you don't really need to think about it, because it's the committee who decides in which category they're going to grant you or they're going to recommend you for consultative status. So that's the answer for this. So let me take another question here. So the question here is, how far back should an applicant go while filling the programmatic overview and the financial application? So of course, you're welcome to write as much as we want, but committee members normally prefer your more recent history. I cannot say 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but it's about that. I mean, I cannot give you a particular date. The important thing is you highlight what you think is more important for this application for the committee to know. If you tell something that happened, 10 or 15 years ago, is probably not so relevant anymore, because I'm sure your organization have changed since. So you really want to go into the last 2 or 3 years, I would say. And in the area of finance, that is particularly important because it has to present your latest financial statement and your latest financial information in the income and expenditure section. Latest, of course, in financial statement, you're limited by your fiscal year and how often you present financial statement. But I will say ideally 1 or no more than 2 years ago. If you do present an old financial statement, we'll probably contact you to request the most updated one. So try to submit updated financial information. In general, updated information in your application. I'm going to go for one last round on the participants to speak. Again, there are a lot of people still. If you have been if you're not willing to speak or you already took the floor, I would appreciate if you can lower your hand. You can do that. Let me. Okay, I have Alisa with double S, Alisa from Bridges to Prosperity. You have been unmuted and you can have to unmute yourself and you can take the floor.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm with an organization called Bridges to Prosperity, and we build rural infrastructure. And I was just wondering if there is a cap or sort of a quota of the number of organizations that are recommended per review cycle. I said there were like 900 applications. How many on average of those, when they go in for review, are actually recommended for consultative status?
Okay, well, thank you for your question, and I think that's very important for absolutely everybody, because you want to know how your application will go throughout all this big number of applications we have. So first of all, there is no cap. We receive as many applications as we get in the NGO branch. So by June 1st, we will, if you apply even in the last minute, we are going to get it. So there is no cap on our end. But of course, there is a processing time, and we've been experiencing delays in terms of the processing of application within our branch. We try to review your application as soon as possible and to be on top of it. But of course, there is a large number of applications that we receive, and that, of course, put a big pressure on us to deliver as many as we can to the committee. The committee also doesn't have a cap. So, of course, we cannot submit everything immediately. So the committee will receive a certain number, and they go through normally all new applications. They go normally twice. So that means they go through all application once, they ask questions to the ones they need to ask questions. And normally, and I'm saying normally because sometimes there are many applications and they are not able to do it, but I will say almost ever, they go through a second round where they see all the answers and they can again make a decision or a recommendation for your application. In terms of how likely is that your application get recommended on the session, it's very hard for me to give you a historical percentage, but this is public. So you can see from the reports of the committee, it's also on our website. We have the reports for many, many years ago. I would recommend you to look at the latest one to see how many applications were presented and how many applications were recommended on that session. And there you can have a glance of approximately the number that get recommended, which is not necessarily based on a cap or a calculated element. It's just basically the frequency in which committee members have questions. And yes, you can find a trend definitely of a percentage that normally gets status, I would say, in the first shot. And there are others that will take more rounds and more sessions to get status. So that's as much as I can answer. I don't know if that's addressed your question.
That was very helpful. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you. So let me get someone else. I have someone called Adan Ortiz. Oh, sorry. No, you didn't raise your hand. Forget about it. I was looking someone else. Okay, I have Keifala Chroma. Keifala with K. Keifala Chroma. Yes, so you're now, let me see, enabled, so you can unmute yourself and take the floor if you're there. Keifala Chroma. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Okay, I don't see that you're unmuting, so we'll pick someone else. Let me see. I have Natalie Alexakis. Yes, so now you're going to mute yourself.
Hi, Diego. Thank you for all the really informative information, and you've been very clear, so it's been very helpful. Thank you. Just one question. Our organisation already holds roster status. So if we wanted to apply for consultative or special and we say we didn't get it, would we still keep our roster status?
So if you are, that's a good question. Thank you. If you are already in roster, you are already in consultative status. Okay, so you don't really need to apply to upgrade your consultative status. There is a process called reclassification that you can explore, in which you can see if you can get your status upgraded. I don't want to talk about this because it's very specific, but I will recommend you write to us for that specific scenario. So you cannot submit a new application because you're already in status, but you can explore that. So there is an area in our messaging system when you write to us that is actually said reclassifications. So you can write there and explain your situation, and you may be given directions on how to change the status. Again, the type of status is something decided by the committee. So it will be up to them whether they consider your organization is ready for that status. But you don't need to submit a new application. Actually, you will not be able to do it. The system will not let you because you are in status. I don't know if that is clear. Natalie? Okay. Well, I move to the next. I don't hear a response. Hopefully that's helpful. Let me get someone else. And that will be the last person. I will answer a few questions. We are running out of time. See. Okay, I have someone, again, sorry for my pronunciation, Bhakta Vishwakarma. Bhakta Vishwakarma. You have the floor. You have to unmute yourself. Okay. Yes.
Hi. Yeah, thank you, Diego, for your wonderful presentation. So it's a clear cut, but my question is very particular. That is like 2 years. So my organization is the one of the most marginalized people's organization working in Nepal, right? So we have registered that organization in 2023, June 20, right? So your deadline is June 1. So there is a differences in 19 days or something like that. So it's particularly so we are able to present our document in 2026 or not. So it's just a month is there, but the day is I don't know.
When did you apply again? Can you repeat the date?
No, not applied. So I'm applying. I'm applying, but my organization has been registered in 2023.
Okay.
June 20. So your deadline is June 1st. June 1st.
I see. You're barely passing the 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
month is already there, but yeah. So
I know it's a few days, and I'm sorry that it was done at that time, but unfortunately we are very strict, precisely because we have many applications and we need to distribute them over time. So if you are not able to prove existence, and maybe you existed before through the government, so that the government can attest that you have been existent before that date, you will need to wait for that date to apply. And that will put you in 2027, unfortunately. So your chances is really if you can prove through the government that you've been, because you said you've been in existence before, right?
No, I mean, this just 2023, June 20.
Okay, yes. Then unfortunately, we will not be able to, you cannot submit it before, and I will actually request you not to do it because your application will ultimately be closed. So again, I want to use your question to warn everybody to submit your application only when you have the 2 years and you can prove those 2 years, because we will accept the application, we will review the application at some point, and we will need to close them if you are not able to prove earlier existence. So in your case, I will suggest that you wait until that day, starting on that day, to submit your application. Unfortunately, it will not be for 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna get some additional written questions, which we have many as well. I want to balance as much as possible, and we are about to conclude. Let me see if I have. And again, my colleagues are answering some of your questions, I know, and hopefully that with my own answers is covering as many as possible, but there are so many. Okay, here I think this is important. So some financial statements, they're asking here that they are finalizing the financial statement of 2024. They can still submit the 2023, and I will say if the financial statement ends like at the end of 2023 or even before June 2023, you can submit those financial statements. We want the most updated ones, but we know there's time of preparing the financial statement, so you cannot have the most recent one. So as long as 2 years is the date, and we say that, but I just want to repeat it. Okay, here's I think an interesting question. Do you have an example of a university or research institute application for consultative status with the United Nations ECOSOC? And the answer is yes. Universities or research institutes are entities that have been applying for status more recently, and we do have some cases that obtain consultative status. There is nothing in the resolution that prohibit universities or research institutes. The only particular thing to consider is in the case of research institutes or departments within universities, is the possibility to prove its own existence from governmental authorities, which is normally not the case in my experience. Research institute or departments function within the umbrella of the university to which they belong, and that's sometimes that is hard, and that will be a requirement that we need, not because we don't want research institute, but we do need independent existence. We know that some research institutes or departments are able to get this independent existence because the universities allow them to register as regular NGOs, but that's something that you will have to find out through your university, the leadership, to see if you can do that. Alternatively, we do have universities as a whole applying for status, and we have several cases that applied and some that got consultative status. So it is possible, and it did happen, and we can totally, we encourage those. But just be careful about the ability to provide your own independent proof of existence issued by governmental authority. So I'm going to take one last questions before we wrap up. Let me see. So here they are talking about associations that have multiple branches, and if the branch can apply separately. And it's kind of the, they say, I will read the entire question. We are one of 122 branch offices of an organization. Do we apply as the branch office? Do branch offices apply separately? Or does our headquarters apply for the status and all the branches is gay status? How does it work? So we have different cases here. We normally encourage the NGO to apply as a whole, because normally the headquarters are the ones who can prove their existence, and they can submit their application as a whole. And in that way, every office can send representative on behalf of this entire organization. That's the recommended approach. However, some chapters of organizations or branches have independent existence, and they wish to apply separately for whatever reasons. So we allow that to happen. It's not something we encourage because I think it's more important for the NGO to have a common representation and to attend sessions on behalf of the entire organization rather than the branch office. But if you're legally existing as a branch or as an area of the organization, you can technically do it. Again, it's in this case that you have 122 branch offices, I think it's going to be very complicated to do that. So it's better that you apply as an entire organization. All right, so I will conclude here. Again, there are so many questions unanswered. I feel sorry about that, but we don't have much more time. The idea of this webinar is to give you, again, an overview, and we even got into some details on some aspects of the application process, to tell you a little bit about consultative status. Once again, you can look at our website for more detailed information, and that particularly will be able to answer some of the questions you ask here. If you still, after going through the website, you are not able to go through find the particular answer to your question, you can always write to us through the correspondence, as I showed you before, and my colleagues will be able to answer and hopefully on time for the application. Again, we are getting a lot of questions these days, so bear with us. We are receiving a lot of applications, but we will try to answer as many questions as we have. So with this, I want to conclude. I want to thank my colleagues, Mr. Wok-Chin Chang and Hannah Denectu, Maria Marchione, for their support in answering all these questions while reading, while doing all this. It was very intense, but hopefully, I hope we were able to share our knowledge and help you as much as possible. I want to wish you the best with your applications, even though for those who haven't started yet. But also, there are many people here I saw from the questions that are already in the process. I also ask you for patience. I know the process is slow. It takes time, but also it's very rewarding. And after getting consultative status, you will hopefully be able to contribute to ECOSOC, be part of the organization, and also we are looking for more voices of civil society represented at the UN. So without any further ado, I want to thank you once again for this communication, and all the best. Thank you.